Hey everyone, this is Schleicher from Gaming Trend, and I am here with Justin Gary of Stoneblade Entertainment and now Ultra Pro Games, and we are talking about two of his current projects. And the first one is very new; it just recently came out, and it's called Shards of Infinity. And this is another deck builder, but there's definitely a twist to it.
Yeah. So I'm probably best known. I've been making games now for a long time. Probably best known for Ascension, which is the deck building game that's been around now for almost a decade. Right, we're the longest running deck building game out there, most releases. And I was like, I wanted to take a minute and think, okay, what if I started again today? Right, what if I wanted to reset and saying, no, learning everything I've learned and seeing how the market's evolved and saying, how would I build a deck building game today? And that's what Shards of Infinity is. So it's something that's a lot more aggressive. It's very fast-paced. It's got some new mechanics that really shake up the environment. So just the overview of it, it's the game's $19.99, and it's enough for 4 players to play. And it has a much more like visceral kind of feel to it. So every character, unlike in Ascension where you attack monsters, right? Everybody gets their own unique character card. You start at 50 health, and if you can knock your opponent down to 0 health, you win the game. All your opponents down to 0 health. The other thing is you have this mastery tracker. That's one of the innovations of the game. Each turn you can spend 1 gem, which is like your money resource, how you buy stuff, to increase your mastery by 1. As your mastery goes up, you get more and more powerful. So even your starting cards, give me a second. Even your starting cards that are normally really bad in deck building games can actually get better over time. So for example, this card gives you 2 gems at the beginning of the game, but if you have 5 or more mastery, it gives you 3 instead. If you have 15 or more mastery, it gives you 4 instead, right? So even your basic starting cards get more powerful. Now, one of the coolest things is the game's called Shards of Infinity. The story of the game is that there was a weapon of infinite power called the Infinity Engine that was destroyed, and you have one of the fragments of it, the shards. And if you can master the shard and rebuild the Infinity Engine by getting to 30 mastery and drawing this card, you gain infinite power. At which point you have to do a maniacal laugh, and then that's how you can win the game instantly. So there's multiple ways to win the game, and then there's a lot of other mechanics that are new too. We have a mechanic called Mercenaries, and mercenary cards, in addition to being able to buy them for your deck, just like in any other deck building game, you can fast play them out of the center row. So if you see a mercenary card in the center, you can pay the cost and get the effect immediately, but instead of it going into your deck, it goes on the bottom of the center deck, meaning you don't get access to it anymore. So it's kind of a trade-off of like power now, power later. Or sometimes you want to deny a card to your opponent, but you don't really want it in your deck. So you'll fast play it to get the effect and get it out of there. So that's another innovation. We also have a shield mechanic. So sometimes people are beating you down and attacking you. Things are getting rough. You can have shield cards in your deck, which if they're in your hand when you get attacked, you can reveal the shield card to prevent that much damage. Each one has a shield number. So that creates a little uncertainty even when it's your opponent's turn. So it's a lot of like things like that. Plus, look, I've been doing these kinds of games, playing playing Magic competitively or designing and developing games for 20 years now. So we really try to make it very fine-tuned, very competitive, but very easy to access. And so it's something that's been very exciting. People have been super stoked about it. We've got the expansion in the works. That'll be coming out in October.
Nice.
October-ish, let me just say ish. Okay? But I even have it here at the show. I have my prototype. We've been showing it off. People getting a great reaction. And we're working on the digital version and all kinds of stuff. So the response has been great. It's really exciting. I mean, I'm always going to love Ascension. We're going to keep releasing new Ascension sets. But to be able to build something new like this and really get it out there and see the reaction has been amazing. So it's super fun. And for $19.99 for 4 players, it's one of the cheapest deck building game experiences you can have, but really high quality components and a really fun time for everybody.
So now with the mastery, you said you can spend your shards to move it up. Can it ever go back down?
So there is only 1 card in the base game that can attack mastery and make them lose mastery. So for the most part, like your health, you can do huge amounts of damage, right? So somebody could do 20 damage to you in a turn, and you could gain 15 in a turn. And so it's very swingy. It goes up and down all the time. But mastery generally is going to be a slow and steady track to increase. And that's actually a really valuable thing. Well, a couple things it does from a game, I'm going to dig deep a little bit into game design stuff, because it lets me make the most powerful cards ensure that they're going to be in the late game, right? With a lot of deck building games, even if you make a really high cost powerful card, if somebody gets lucky and gets that early in the game, it can disrupt the entire game, right? Everything gets out of whack. But here we can make really powerful cards at 15 or 20 mastery threshold, and then that ensures that they won't happen until the very late game. And so we made it a slow and steady pace. And also, it ensures that the game is going to end, right? It's one of the worst things that happens in a lot of these games where you're attacking each other and you have defenses, is you can create two impenetrable fortresses, right? And the game will go on forever. And I've got all my fortresses and you got yours, and nothing's ever going to happen. Well, in this game, at some point, somebody's going to get the 30 mastery, draw the Infinity Shard, and do infinite damage. So for sure, the game is going to end. So it serves that purpose. And then, of course, it also is a great outlet, right? Because if you have extra gems, extra resources, you can always pour one into into increasing your mastery. And that means we got rid of all the side decks. There's no like mystics or heavy infantries or gold cards or anything on the side. It's just a center deck, your personal deck, and your hero card, and that's it. So it's a very clean experience, just something that appealed to me as a designer.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's still simple, but it handles 4 players right away, and yeah, like your intro cards are still worth something and not like stuff you would just want to trash as soon as you get them.
Yeah, exactly. Like we still have the banish mechanic where you can get rid of your starting cards, but having something where your starting cards actually get better over time was a big priority for me. And that mastery mechanic was the thing I built this whole game around, basically. Like that, once I had that idea, and I worked with Gary Arant as a code designer, and we really worked together to kind of fine tune it. And we just tried to build the game that we both wanted to play the most. And now it turns out a lot of other people feel the same way. So.
But you're still working on Ascension, as you said.
Absolutely.
There are people who are going to be like old school with that. So you have a new set coming out called Delirium.
Yes, I do.
And I mean, the box looks crazy cool. And
yeah, well, if we want to transition, you can see it over here. So this is the first time we've shown this off to anybody. It actually is not for sale until next month. In July is when it actually is going to be for sale, although we do have 20 copies a day here at the Origins Trade Show this week. So they've been selling out pretty fast, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, you know, as much as I talked about, you know, Shards is awesome for us because it's something new, starting from scratch, really re-envisioning what the deck building game genre can be. Ascension is always going to be my baby, right? I mean, that's something that I've built my entire company around. It's been almost 10 years since I first started working on that project. And every set, we try to do something new and interesting and exciting and different. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Ascension out there, every set is also designed to be standalone. And we make sure that we never have too many mechanics in any one set. So even if you've never heard of it before and you just wanted to get started with Delirium or any one of our big boxes, it's designed that you can jump in and play. But one of the cool things about having a game that's been around as long as ours has been is that we can start playing with some of those old mechanics that people love and bringing them back and changing them. So one of the things we've done with Delirium is we brought back the insight mechanic from the Dreamscape. So those are these pretty gems here. Now, for those that remember the Dreamscape, that was, you know, you went to the World of Dreams and you had like a side deck of cards that you could access and buy with these. Now, insight you get whenever a Dreamborn card shows up in the center row, like this guy here. Or whenever you buy one, you get insight. There's a few other ways to get it. And that's a resource that stays from turn to turn. So unlike most other deck building game resources, where if you spend it, you either spend it or you lose it every turn, this one you can hold on to, so you get to decide when you want to spend it. So that adds a lot of strategy to it. But this game's called Delirium, so we had to add a little madness to it. And the way we did that was with the Delirium die. So in this game, you can always spend, anytime on your turn, you can spend 5 insight to roll the Delirium die. And each side of the die gives you some bonus resource. So you could get 4 power, 5 honor, 3 runes, 2 cards, banish a card, or you could get 6 insight, which then of course lets you roll again with an extra insight. So there's a lot of really fun things you can get with the die. So we tried to combine a very strategic resource mechanic where you store it from the turn with a press your luck and take a risk kind of mechanic. So that's one of the most exciting things about it. We also have a few other mechanics. Some people remember the Feint Mechanics, which means whenever they show up in the center row, they do something. In this case, we have a Feint auction. And I love auctions as a gamer. What that means is you can, starting with the first turn, you can bid insight, and going around the table, you have to increase your bid or drop out, and whoever's willing to bid the most gets the effect on the card. So you can get a bonus effect right away. And then, of course, you can buy it and play it as normal. But that's another really cool new thing in the set. In addition to that, there's other ways to spend insight. Some cards have recur. Recur just means when you get the effect, you can pay that much insight to use it again. The booth, 102. Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff like that, really playing with the mechanics that we've had before, presenting them in totally new ways. And then this year is really the year of dreams. So What that means is that the Dreamscape, right, the story, we introduced it, several years ago. Now we're coming back, and there's found this new portal to the dream world, and its nightmares are pouring forth, and everything's getting crazy, and a lot of our heroes are getting like warped. So for those who've been playing for a long time, Cetra is probably our most famous Lifebound hero. She's now transformed, and she's now a part of the Void. And Dartha has joined the Mechana, and Kor has joined everything's warped in this world. So it's like we've been able to play with a lot of the characters even that people have grown to love over the last several years and change them up and try some new things. And then the next set that's coming after this, we just sent to the printer also. That's also going to be in the dream world. And I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but it's also going to use the Inside Mechanic in a totally different way.
And then teaser.
Yeah. And then we have the Year 5 Collector's Edition will be coming out at the end of the year, which includes the Dreamscape. So really, all the sets from this year are designed to work together. They all show you a different twist on the same mechanic, so you can really explore all the space and really build something new, even though we're taking something old and making it new again. So it's a really exciting time. It's been almost a year since we actually released a new Ascension standalone box like this. So that's the longest we've ever gone. So it's exciting to finally get it out there, and people have been picking up the few copies we got here, or you can order. You can obviously pre-order them online, and they'll be available in stores next month.
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoy the mechanics of Ascension, and I like how things are different, but not so different that it really changes the gameplay drastically as you play, and it offers something new each time you get a new box.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we try to do, and so for those of you out there that are actually really into this sort of thing and love to geek out on game design stuff, there's a couple things that you can do. We just started our cultist program, named after our friendly neighborhood cultist, where you can actually join in our group. You can run play tests of our games before they're live. I'll be doing some live streams talking about game design and theory and what's going on behind the scenes. And some people are actually going to get a chance to fly out to San Diego and come spend a weekend with us gaming and working on new stuff. And so that's a really cool new program. You can join our email list where I'll be giving out little tips and giving information about that. Go to stoneblade.com, sign up for our email list. We'll be sending stuff out and all kinds of little goodies and promos and things. So part of the reasoning behind this is, I love coming to these conventions because I get to actually interact with fans. I've got my prototype for the new Shards expansion here and the next Ascension expansion and a brand new game nobody's ever heard of, and I get to show them off to people and get feedback, and it's one of my favorite parts of the job. And I was like, well, why do I only get to do this at conventions? Why not do this all the time? And so this is a chance for you guys to come join and talk with us behind the scenes and become a part of the experience and give us feedback and help make our games better. So anybody out there that's interested, go to stoneblade.com, sign up for the email list, and we'll give you more info.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, Justin.
Yeah, my pleasure.